Hey Collective, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day today. So, you know that version of yourself you keep tucked away? The one that's a little too intense, maybe a little too needy, or too quiet? The one you worry is too messy, snores too loud, or too ambitious? The one you're afraid people would bolt from if they ever truly saw it? We all have one, and we spend years, sometimes a whole lifetime, trying to polish it away. We sand down our sharpest edges to present this perfect, easy to digest, likable version of ourselves to the world. We build a mask, piece by piece, and just hope nobody ever sees the cracks. But what if I told you that all that hiding is the very thing draining your natural magnetism? That this constant performance is why your confidence feels so fragile and your connections feel so superficial? And what if the secret to becoming genuinely irresistibly attractive wasn't about fixing your flaws, but about embracing them? What if the key was hidden in the one place you've been taught to never ever look? Your shadow. The mission to be perfect is exhausting. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can only do it for so long. You can force a smile at a party when you're riddled with anxiety. You can nod along when you secretly burn with a different opinion. You can post a flawless highlight reel while your inner world is in chaos. But it takes constant pressure, constant vigilance, and the second your focus slips, the beach ball bursts to the surface, often in ways you can't control. Like a sudden snap of anger, a wave of social anxiety, or that crippling feeling that you're a total fraud. And that's the prison of persona. When our self-worth is tied to this perfect mask, our confidence becomes brittle. It depends completely on outside validation, on likes, compliments, and applause. It shatters at the first sign of criticism because we're terrified that if the mask is flawed, then we are worthless. This is also why so many relationships feel hollow. How can someone truly connect with you if they've only ever met your representative? They fall for the polished avatar, not the real, complex, and way more interesting person underneath. We crave being seen, but we're terrified of being exposed. So we end up in this quiet contradiction, feeling lonely in a crowd of people who love the idea of us, but don't really know us at all. We wonder why we don't feel a deep sense of belonging, not realizing we've never let our true selves be present enough to actually be accepted. This is where a counterintuitive idea from the legendary Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung comes in. Jung believed that inside every one of us lives what he called the shadow. Now, this isn't your evil side or some monster you have to defeat. The shadow is simply the collection of all the parts of yourself you've disowned, repressed, and hidden away. Not because they're inherently bad, but because at some point in your life, you were taught they were unacceptable. Maybe as a kid, you were told that being loud was obnoxious, so you buried your natural exuberance. Maybe you were shamed for being selfish, so you repressed your ability to fight for your own needs. Maybe you were called too sensitive, so you learned to numb your rich, emotional world. These exiled parts, your anger, your ambition, your vulnerability, your wild creativity, they don't just vanish. They get shoved down into the basement of your mind, forming the shadow. And here's the truth. You cannot be fully confident while being only half of yourself. Trying to build self-worth by cutting off parts of who you are is like trying to build a strong house with half the foundation missing. Jung argued that the path to a whole authentic life, a process he called individuation, wasn't about becoming perfect. It was about making the darkness conscious. Think of your shadow not as a source of shame, but more like an unpolished diamond. In the dark, it looks like a worthless rock. But It holds huge potential for brilliance, strength, and value. The work isn't to get rid of the rock, but to bring it into the light to see its hidden facets and to integrate it into the crown of who you are. Because let's be real, true attraction, the kind that radiates from a deep place of inner worth, isn't drawn to perfection, it's drawn to wholeness. And that's all any of us are on this planet to do, to heal and become whole again. So, how do we actually start this journey? I'll be honest. You know I'll always be honest with you. This isn't a one-time fix, but a brave and ongoing practice of self-reunion and self-acceptance. It never ends. Never. But here's 3 key steps to get you thinking when you're ready to dip a toe in. Step 1. Notice the projection. The shadow is unconscious, so how the hell do you find it? The answer is projection. Look at the people who trigger a huge emotional reaction in you, both good and bad. That person at work whose arrogance drives you crazy, the partner who projects all their issues and insecurities onto you like they're yours, that celebrity whose shameless confidence you despise, or on the flip side, the artist whose wild freedom you secretly admire. These people are often just mirrors, reflecting back the parts of yourself you've disowned. The intense irritation you feel towards someone's arrogance might be your own repressed ambition screaming to be let out. That sharp judgment you have for someone who is too needy might be a reflection of your own unmet needs for connection, which you've decided is unacceptable. The trigger is the trail. When you feel that surge of anger, envy, or even obsessive admiration, don't just look outward. Pause. Get curious. Ask yourself, what is this person showing me about myself? What part of me that I've hidden away is being activated right now? This isn't about excusing bad behavior in others, because I never would. It's about using your reaction as a diagnostic tool to map out your own inner world. Step number 2, own the trait. Once you've identified a potential shadow trait, the next step is the most vulnerable. You have to own it. You have to. This doesn't mean you have to like it or act on it destructively. It simply means acknowledging its existence inside of you without judgment. This is you practicing radical self-acceptance. For most of us, our inner dialogue is full of shame. We say, I hate that I'm so lazy, or I can't stand my own insecurities. This judgment only shoves the trait deeper into the shadow, giving it more unconscious power over us. To own the trait, you have to reframe the language. Instead of, I hate my selfishness, try saying, this part of me wants to prioritize its own survival, because that's what it is. Instead of, I'm ashamed of my anger, you could acknowledge, I'm angry because a boundary was crossed. This shift from shame to neutral observation is a game changer. You're not saying the trait is good or bad. You're just saying it's there, and it's a part of you. You're bringing the monster out of the basement and sitting down at the table with it, just to look at it, understand it, and accept that it's there. This act alone strips the shadow of its terrifying power. When you stop fighting yourself, you get a massive amount of energy back. Step 3, integrate the energy. This final step is where the real transformation happens. Integration isn't about getting rid of the flaw. It's about consciously redirecting its core energy. Now, stay with me here. Every negative trait has a positive, life-giving energy at its heart, if you can learn how to channel it. You don't kill your anger. You ask what it's trying to protect and use its fire to build better boundaries. You stop being an angry person and become someone who is passionately protective. Is your shadow trait stubbornness? When integrated, that energy becomes unwavering conviction and resilience. Is it messiness or chaos? That raw energy, when channeled, can become creative freedom and the ability to innovate outside the box. Or maybe it's neediness. That's the fundamental human drive for connection. When integrated, it allows you to build deep, authentic relationships instead of just chasing validation. This, my friends, is alchemy, the art of turning lead into gold. You're taking the raw, primal energy of the shadow, the very thing you are ashamed of, and consciously choosing how to use it as a force for good in your life. This is what it means to become whole. You're no longer just the nice guy or the perfect girl. You're the person who is kind and has unshakable boundaries. You're the person who is organized and knows how to embrace creative chaos. You are the complete, complex human being. Now, the benefit. This is where it all comes together. The shadow trait that makes you irresistibly attractive isn't the flaw itself. It's the wholeness you gain from having the courage to embrace it. People aren't drawn to manufactured perfection. They're drawn to authenticity. They're drawn to people who have substance, depth, and a quiet confidence that comes from the inside. When you've done the work of integrating your shadow, you radiate this confidence without even trying. You stop needing external validation because you've accepted every part of yourself. You're no longer performing, so you can be fully present. Your presence becomes magnetic because it's real. There is nothing more attractive than someone who is at home in their own skin. All of it. Someone who can laugh at their own imperfections, who isn't afraid of their own intensity, and who doesn't shy away from the complex parts of their character. They feel safe to be around because their self-acceptance creates a space of acceptance for others. Their courage to be whole gives everyone around them permission to be whole too. This is the core of inner worth. It's a deep embodied knowing that you are enough. Not in spite of your flaws, but because your flaws, once integrated, are the very source of your greatest strengths. The journey into the shadow isn't an easy one, but it can be life-changing. Remember, you may have spent your entire life being taught that your power lies in who you pretend to be. But the truth is, your greatest power, your deepest confidence, and your most irresistible magnetism have always been waiting for you in the parts of yourself you were taught to hide. The goal isn't to be good. The goal is to be whole. Stop trying to be a figure of all light and find the courage to make your darkness conscious. Because when you finally embrace all that you are, you become someone that others simply can't ignore. If this video resonated with you, please like and subscribe. And until next time, friends, keep healing. See ya.